On this episode, it's all coming up cranberries. What does that mean? Well, let's get right into it. I've been playing a lot of Elder Scrolls Online recently. I've been getting back into it. It's one of those things that we drift apart for a few months, years, but we always wind up back together again. One aspect of the Elder Scrolls that has sort of like always stuck to me, always drawn my eye, is like everything to do with Morrowind and the Dunmer and their culture and history I've always thought was great. So I was thinking while we're working on our video about the Great, which it has expanded quite a bit, and there's a lot of cocktails that we're going to do in that video, and there's a lot of ingredients that we're going to need to order for that video. So it's gonna be a big one. So in the meantime, we're doing something a little bit different. We're not making any cocktails today. We're going to be talking about infusions. The reason that we've decided to do this is because there is an alcoholic beverage native to Morrowind called Sujamma, which I've always figured was either some kind of straight liquor or some punch or sort of alcoholic beverage that they drink there. After doing a little research, I have sort of discovered that it's more of a liqueur in the same way that absinthe or chartreuse is a liqueur, very high in alcohol percentage, also very flavorful, a bunch of additive flavors. So, what do we know about Sujamma? Well, in the original text of Morrowind, not much. It is a strong alcoholic beverage preferred by the Dunmer, kind of all that we're given. We are not given much more when it comes back in Skyrim for the Dragonborn DLC, but we do get something of a recipe for it in the Elder Scrolls Online. This recipe calls for barley as the alcohol base, cranberries as the tea base, and lemons as the medium. So, what does all that mean? Well, first of all, barley and alcohol is quite easy to get. What you're looking for there is a malt whiskey, which we have here. We've got this Bullet single malt whiskey. Single malts are made entirely from barley. Scotches use a lot of barley, but they also have some other grains in there. What we're looking for is just straight barley for this drink, and that's what we've got here. This is a fine enough single malt. You know, it'll work fine for the infusion process. The lemons are pretty straight. It's easy to infuse with lemons. You're kind of just going to want to use the zest there most of the time. That's how you get, like, when I was working around Benjamin Franklin's Milk Punch last year, a lot of that process is just infusing brandy with lemon zest for a day. So I've got some experience in that field as well. What are cranberries? This is where I've had to do a little more research and a little more interpretation of the text to kind of discover what exactly this fruit is. We know that it's native to Morrowind. It's a large red berry that is bitter, and it is also used to create Greef, which is the Dunmer word for brandy, and Shein, which is the Dunmer word for wine. So, in the real world, brandy and wine are made with red grapes, so I can imagine that maybe cranberries are similar to red grapes, and they're very bitter, and they're also a berry. So, what I've come up with for our cranberry part of the infusion process is a 2-to-1 ratio of cranberries to red grapes. In this bowl, we have 20 cranberries and 10 red grapes. Since the culture of the Dunmer is also heavily inspired by Japanese culture, I've heard some people suggest goji berries as a sort of real-world version of cranberries. But I think that they're just a little too sweet for what we're looking for here, and I think that these flavors combined will be very interesting, especially with that lemon. So what you're going to want to do when you have your grapes and your cranberries in your bowl there, you're going to want to take 6 lemons, and we're going to zest those right down. So we're back. We ended up only going with 4 lemons. We had some pretty big ones, and I think this is a nice zest to berry ratio. So 4 lemons, probably good enough. We're going to give that a good shake, and then we're going to muddle everything together. While I'm doing this, I'll talk to you a little bit more about some other recipes for Sujamma that I've seen on the internet. A lot of people, because the recipe in Elder Scrolls Online calls out cranberries as a tea base, a lot of people think it's like a punch that you need to make with some sort of tea. and whatever barley spirit you decide to go with. I think that that is more something just born of the rudimentary design of like recipe building in ESO. I think more so what it's telling us is that cranberries are used in the creation of Sujamma. The way that they had phrased that on the recipe itself was just as a tea base, because I'm sure that that's what that ingredient is used for typically. Now, all we need to do is add about 2 shots of single malt whiskey. It's been 5 days, and we're back now. Our Sujamma has marinated. We've strained it. It looks. Oh, we might have to strain it again. There's still some particulates in there. It's not like it's gonna go bad. It's mostly alcohol, so no.
Excuse me, that went through a cheesecloth.
Lovely, lovely. We have new microphones, by the way, so that's probably why I sound a lot better. It's got a very pleasant aroma to it. Nothing like the single malt, the bullet that we use. It's very fruity. You can kind of feel the lemony zang going in. So we're going to use our little tasting glass from the Sazerac house here to pour out some of this and give it a whirl. So let's see what we think. And that is delightful. It's very strong on lemon, but there is also a distinct part of that tanginess that, I mean, unless you know like really what the taste of cranberries is, you'd probably think that's the taste of the lemon coming through, but that is the cranberries for sure. Oh, that's delightful. Oh wow. Yeah, I could drink this stuff straight. This was a success. We're gonna finish that out. Still strong, obviously. It's mostly straight liquor. So we've got a bunch of materials out here because I want to try my hand at making a cocktail with this stuff. Very simple, old fashioned. But before we do that, I want to talk real quickly about some other drinks from Morrowind that use cranberry, mainly Greef, which is the Dunmer brandy in the game, and Shein or Shein, which is the Dunmer wine in the game. I'd imagine that you could kind of get close approximations of those by doing a cranberry-infused brandy and a cranberry-infused red wine. I will have instructions on how to make those in the comments section. Ideally, like the best solution would be to find a brandy that is made both from red grapes and cranberries, but that like never, you'd be very lucky to find something like that, I imagine. Same thing for the wine. So I'll leave some recipes for infusions that could approximate the flavors of Greef and Shein in the description. And we'll move right along to making what I am tentatively calling the Vvardenfell Old Fashioned. It's going to be smoked Old Fashioned because Vvardenfell is a volcanic island. So I'm going to light up this little pellet here from the Visky Alchemy smoking kit. Awesome. Put that over there. Let that happen for a minute while we build our cocktail. So we're going to want 2 ounces of Sujamma. Fill that jigger right up. 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, or 1/4 ounce, sorry. There we go. 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. 2 dashes of angostura bitters. I'm gonna go give it a swirl.
Cats.
Open this back up. Trap that smoke inside. Very quickly pour our drink into the carafe. Just put a little there, but that's not going to matter too much. give this a nice swirl. Get all that smoky flavor in there. Open it back up. Pour it in. Add ice. Garnish with a lemon twist. All by myself, I've gotten a lemon peel. I'm going to express that over the glass. Go once around the rim. Plop it in there. What's the toast that should go with this? But,
I was gonna say huzzah, but that we should save that for the next video.
by Azura. That's a funny Elder Scrolls quote from the adoring fan. That's a little long for a toast, though.
Not if it's like a chant toast.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's solid. I'm going to actually add, just to get the extra allspice and clove in there, we're going to do 4 dashes of angostura on this. I want it to be really, really smoky. That's sort of the idea here. Oh, yeah. That is smooth and delicious. Mostly lemony, but oh, it's so tart and okay, that's lovely. This is a perfect simple drink to make while you're playing Morrowind, as you are wont to do 25 years after the game released. You know, I still do.
I might just start. That's not true. I won't, but I will try.
That's lovely. All right, well, that's all we have about making Sujamma here and some other beverages from Morrowind or inspired by Morrowind. We'll probably do more of these in the future. I'm working on some other Elder Scrolls recipes as we speak, but nothing's concrete right now. We're still working on the Great Cocktail. Again, that video just keeps ballooning in size, so it'll be a little while till we can get everything for it, but it's going to be a big one when it does drop. So I hope you enjoyed this nice little interlude. I guess happy gaming.